Good morning, magandang umaga po. Today we're going to talk about, I revisited the refinancing posting that I put on YouTube the other day. I received some comments that it's a little bit difficult to understand, so I thought I'll come up with this video that explains it in a cash in, cash out, strictly cash. How are you going to determine if it makes sense for you to refinance? Stay with me. This is a new version of the analysis that I will present to you to determine if it makes sense for you to refinance. You will just take a look at the reduction in the monthly payment. Hopefully it's a reduction, otherwise you're not going to refinance. And how long would it take, how many months would it take for you to recover the amount of investment you're going to put in? Keep in mind that you're extending your loan usually. For example, if you have already paid 24 months, now you'll go back to 360 months. That's 30 years. And here we're going to focus only on 30 years because that is the majority of the financing being obtained by people. There's 15 years available, there's 20 years available, but most people use 30 years. So when does it make sense for you to refinance? Analyzed in a strictly cash basis position. It will still take into account some time value of money that I talked about. In addition to that, in my last posting, I showed you the concept, but there's really nothing I can give you. On this particular episode, I will give you a spreadsheet, a model that, assuming you have Excel, that you can use in Excel to determine if it makes sense for you to do it or not. Here goes. This is a spreadsheet that I'll be happy to provide you. And it looks scary, but these are the only things you need to complete, to fill out. This area here, this, what do you call this, orange area or pink area? I don't know because I'm colorblind. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 areas you will need to complete, and I will explain to you how this thing works. Let's say that you have a interest rate today on your loan of 4.25%, and that you're making payments of say 1,476. By the way, on this area, it's important to note, number one, that the monthly payment on the present loan must be entered as a negative number. Also, this thing must not include taxes and insurance escrow. When you're making monthly payment, it includes a portion of it goes to insurance and taxes, home insurance and taxes, money being put in escrow so that the money is there to pay your taxes and insurance. Do not include those. Simply include the principal and interest that is part of your monthly payment. Okay, so let's say that is 1,476. Now, the reason I ask for these two information is usually the important information is how much principal balance do you have. And nobody really knows that unless you have an amortization table provided to you by the lender. I hope they did provide you that. For example, it's a 30-year mortgage, and this one also is only on a 30-year mortgage, okay? Because that's mostly what people have. So let's say it's 360 payments. That's 30 years times 12. So you had an original loan balance of $300,037. Maybe it's even $300,000. The $37 here is just rounding. Now, let's say that you have already made 24 payments. So you only have 336 remaining. Your payment is going to be the same, but your mortgage balance after 2 years is $289,701. It's going to be approximately that. It will never be exact. The reason is your lenders are computing the interest based on the date that payment is received, whether it's early or delinquent. So your real
loan balance will vary from this a little bit. Okay, it depends on how diligent you are in making your timely payments. If you are making your payment on the spot, then that's going to be your balance on the spot, but it will never be the same. Now, so here is your real picture today. Okay, you just entered the interest, the monthly payment, and the remaining payment, and that will give you your balance. Now, this is the so-called amortization table. Let me explain how this thing works. If this is your loan balance of $289, you multiply that by your rate. This is per year, so you divide it by 12, and that will give you that. If you are making this payment, the difference between the two goes to the principal, and therefore your principal balance drops. Okay? Then the following month, you do the same thing. You compute the interest, 4.25 divided by 12, and it gives you this. And if your monthly payment is that, the difference between the two gets used to reduce the principal. So as you can see, the interest declines a little bit. Okay? Now, let's go through the refinancing scenario. Let's say that the lender claims that you will need $5,000 for closing costs and prepaid items. Well, just like we do not include the insurance and escrow items, because whether you refinance or not, it will be the same thing. Now, there could be a difference in that the new lender may require more or less than what the old lender is requiring, but nevertheless, that's your money. That goes in escrow, and if there is any shortage or deficiency in the escrow account when they pay the taxes and insurance, you'll be asked to fork it out. So it's going to be the same. So we're just looking at the principal and interest in this scenario, okay? So let's say included in the $5,000 is $2,000 of escrow items. So you need to be cognizant of that, because you subtract that from the $5,000, and the $3,000 closing cost is all we will have to look at. All right. Then you say, oh, gee, I do not have $3,000. Well, you have a $289,000 balance now. So in all likelihood, they will issue you a loan for say $292,000. Okay, the difference between these two is increase or decrease in loan principal amount. Okay, so the cash that you will put out, okay, the cash outlay is going to be $701. So this is what the picture looks like, and you go through the same amortization on the new loan. You take this mortgage balance. Oh, wait a minute. Let's say what's their interest rate? We need to put the interest rate, which is, let's say, 3.25. That's about 1% less. So you compute the amortization. By the way, that will give you a $1,271 monthly payment. You compute 3.25 divided by 12, because this is an annual rate divided by 12. That's your interest for the month, or $791. The excess the excess payment over the interest of $791 gets applied as a reduction against principal. So your principal is coming down. You go through the same thing. This time you compute it from the $291 at $325. That's 1 month. You subtract the payment, and this is now your new principal. So you keep on doing that for up to 360 payments. Now, I did not expose the 360 payment calculation, because it's scary to be looking at all these numbers. Now, here is the answer. What you do is you compare the cumulative cash paid to date. So if you look at the refinance loan, what is the cumulative cash that you paid? This cash that you paid, $701, plus the $1,271 that you're paying monthly. Add that to the loan balance. If you pay it at the end of 1 month, you paid off the loan. That's how much you're going to pay. That's going to be your refinance loan cumulative cash payout. Okay, that's the paid to date. Now, if you have 3 months, let's say on month 3, you take 3 payments of $1,271, add that to the loan balance, assuming you'll pay it in month 3, and add the cash payment of $701. It gives you this accumulated or cumulative cash payment. You do the same thing here on the present loan. You take the balance, add the payment, You take the monthly payment, add the balance, forget about the past. The past is already done. We're looking forward. So you're just looking at, if I have to close at the end of month 1, that's what I'm going to pay, plus I paid 1,476. There's your total cash payout on the present loan. On, let's say, the second month, you add to the loan balance the previous 2 months payment. That will be your total cash payout. On the third month, you take the current balance and the previous 3 months payment, and that's your payout. And you can see here that the payout, cash paid total for the refinance is greater than the present loan, greater than the present loan, greater than the present loan. Okay? Now, until this number turns positive, or when this number turns positive, that's what I'm calling break-even point. That is when you actually recovered your money. Okay? And by that, I'm talking not only of this amount, but of that amount. Because this takes into account the fact that you are paying $3,000, although you're only paying $701 cash, you're actually paying $3,000. So this reduction is a function of, 1, increase in the principal between these two, okay, and increase in the length. You only have 336 months left here, and instead it's being amortized over 360 months. And then the negative or the positive effect now is the reduction in interest rate from 4.25 to 3.25. So that's a little bit complicated, but the bottom line is you just look at the cash flow and cash out, taking into account the interest that you're paying. When this thing turns positive, that's when you break even, and that's how this is calculated. Okay, now the rule of thumb says take the closing cost. If you don't want to worry about this spreadsheet, just take the closing cost and divide it by the difference in the payment. If you're saving yourself, how much is this? $205 between these two numbers. Every month you're saving $205. Divide that, and that's how you come up with a 15. Now this is the less accurate way of doing it. This is the more accurate way of doing it. Now let's make a change here just so you can see the difference. Supposing the interest rate today is only 4%, so it's only 1/4 of a percent. 4%. Look at what happens. This is now your monthly payment, and your payback period, according to the rule of thumb, is 37 months. 37 months. Okay, that's 3 years. But according to the more accurate way of doing it, it's 66 months. This is the more accurate way of doing it. 66 months. It's twice the rule of thumb rate. Okay, so there is a difference. This is the more accurate one. Again, if you don't want to be bothered with this, you can use this one. This does not take into account all the other factors I was talking about. It simply takes the difference between the two and divide that by that difference, and you get that amount. So again, if you're interested in this spreadsheet, just send me your email address in the comment section down below with a reminder to please delete that message so your privacy is maintained, and I'll be more than happy to send this to you.
There you have it. As you can see, there is a rule of thumb that says take the savings, the cash savings that you have in the refinancing scenario, and divide your investment by that amount, and it would give you the total number of months it would take you to recover your money. Very simple. And if you don't want to be bothered with this spreadsheet, that will give you more or less some fairly accurate. It's an okay, and considering the simplicity of using that approach, you don't really need to have this spreadsheet. However, keep in mind that with the combination of numbers, not only in the reduction, but the fact that you're extending, for example, if your mortgage is a 30-year mortgage and now you only have 20 years left or 15 years left, does it make sense for you to go another 30 years, things like that? It will give you a very different picture, as I have shown it in in the video. So hopefully this helped you, and if you know anyone who might be able to use this approach, please feel free to share it with them, and I'll appreciate it if you like this video, and thank you very much. Oh, and do subscribe. I will appreciate it. Thank you, and make it a great day.